Welcome Synthtopia readers, welcome to NAMM 2016. My name's Woody, I'm from Tracktion Corporation. You've probably heard of us doing DAWs before. We're now expanding into various other areas such as hardware, instruments, as well as our new version of Tracktion, the DAW T7. So first off, our brand new gleaming copper reference I/O, which is a very, very boutique, high-end 2-in 2-out audio interface. Obviously being a DAW company, we're all using music software all the time, and we partner with some very good companies that do affordable I/Os such as Behringer. T5 is bundled with Behringer products and Mackie products, of course. So there's lots of good, affordable, okay audio interfaces out there. So we weren't particularly interested in building one of those. We wanted to build a box that we'd use ourselves. So this box is unashamedly the single best sort of input and output path we could find. And you have to go do a bunch of research as to which chips to buy, which ones are rated by the many audiophile level guys out there. And once you do that, it becomes apparent that A to D, AKM is still the leader in the pack. So we actually run two of the AKM, top-end AKM chips with some quad to stereo to get an extra 3 dB of headroom. It's not a cheap way of doing it, but it gets you the absolute best input path. The output path is handled by the ESS Sabre reference stack, hence the name copper reference to the product. It's the otherworldly, extreme, globally recognized as the best D2A chip you can buy. Around the chips we have an FPGA, a DSP and an 8-core processor handling all of the signals through the box. There's a lot of firmware ensuring that signals, for example, don't go through any of the front panel components. We want to keep that signal as pristine as possible so that what goes through the silicon remains as high quality as possible. So yeah, it's super clean. The clocking is done by Fox crystals, custom grown Fox crystals. Take 16 weeks to grow to spec. I mean, it's literally every single part of this box is what we wanted to build as the absolute best. Adding a tube overdrive circuit just seemed like a really cool idea as well. They just look wonderful, but the combination of just cutting edge, bleeding edge silicon plus the valve tech, it adds a huge amount of diversity to the unit. I mean, you can take your microphone cupboard and greatly vary the amount of tonal characteristics you can get from any individual microphone or instrument by adding variable tube overdrive. And of course it's a 12AX7 tube, of which there are numerous tubes that you can get. So changing the tubes further adds to diversity you can get from the box. So you can either go super clean through the silicon, or you can route up through the tubes and add anything from incredibly subtle to full-blown turn your microphone into a tube amplifier. So lots of fun actually. It's surprisingly fun to do, and then obviously you can go buying new old stock tubes if you like, get into the whole tube world. Super fun. The interior of the box again is suitably a work of art. The actual tube circuit itself was developed by Mike Soldano, local friend of ours in Seattle, very famous tube amp designer. So he actually penned the design for the tube circuit. As you can see, the actual circuitry itself, it's not a small box because obviously layout in a box like this is incredibly important. So everything is spaced exactly how it needs to be to minimize noise. So yeah, it's big. It's expensive. I mean, the bottom line, very low volume, boutique, high expense. It has all the connections to be able to integrate into an existing Pro Tools rig, for example. So you have 2-in 2-out analog, AES SpeedIF word clock. For those of us not in the Pro Tools world who are running on a native machine, USB Type 3, the latest generation USB, the one cable to rule them all, straight on the box. So it is absolutely cutting edge. Like I mentioned before, on the front panel, no signals going through these pots. These are actually high voltage pots that we use on the valve card that just feel wonderful, but no signal goes through these at all. You can bypass the front panel volume control, again, because most people at this end of the scale will probably have a dedicated monitor controller. So, really thought about how you can turn this into your boutique, critical path, stereo sort of critical paths, you know. So you can use, you know, your multi-bank of, you know, multi-track stuff, the other stuff, but when you really need that critical path, this one's your box. Use it as your main stereo output to get that wonderful ESS Sabre reference D2A. It's 134 dB dynamic range, A-weight. I mean, it's bonkersly good. So.
Tell me about expected pricing and availability.
It's going to be in around about the $5,000 range, and it'll be available within the next sort of 4 or 5 months. We have 5 units that we're sending out to press publications to do detailed reviews, listening tests, you know, A/B comparisons to a lot of the other high-end stuff. So that's going to go on with these 5 units, and then, you know, off the back of that, we'll build probably. I mean, they're super limited numbers. Production runs are only probably 10 units, so it's not, you know, it's very limited. But we enjoy it.